Yep. Good evening, members, and welcome to the Joint Scrutiny Committee held here tonight on Monday, the 15th of January 2024. I still think this is the first meeting. It's not the first meeting since New Year, so I can't really say Happy New Year, but I will anyway. This meeting will be live streamed and a recording made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images, audio of those individuals speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council's website at www.caerphilly.gov.uk. I move to agenda item 1, which is to receive apologies for absence. I've got some already from Councillor Fussell, Councillor Jan Jones, Councillor Janine Reid, Councillor Roberts and Councillor Woodland. Are we aware of any others?
Councillor Tudor Davis.
Councillor Tudor Davis. And can I ask the scrutiny manager, therefore, to take a roll call?
Certainly, Chair. Members of the Scrutiny Committees first, in the first instance, I call your name, could you please indicate you're present. Councillor Adams.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Aldworth.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Angel. Councillor Bishop. Councillor Broughton Petite.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Shackon Dawson.
Present, Chair.
Can't see. The next one I can see is Councillor Kuss.
Present.
The next one I can see is Councillor Eade.
Present, Chair. Sorry.
Next one I can see Councillor Enright.
Present.
I can go back now. I can see Councillor Cook has joined us.
Present, Chair.
Well, I don't know.
Councillor Etheridge.
To see what he found in the operation.
Present.
Because whatever it is, I had all this before the operation.
Councillor Mark Evans. Somebody has got the mic on. Can they turn it off, please?
I'm present,
Thank you.
Chair.
Member, please.
Councillor Farina Childs.
Present.
Present.
Councillor, please, present.
Councillor Christine Forehead. I can see Councillor Forehead is in. Councillor Gordon.
Present.
Councillor Haas.
Present.
Councillor Heron.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Hussey.
Present.
Councillor Ingram Jones.
Present.
Councillor Johnston.
Present.
Ariana Leonard.
Present.
Councillor Mann. Councillor McConnell.
Present.
Councillor Miles.
Present.
Councillor Owen. I can see Councillor Owens here. Councillor Parry.
Abba.
Councillor Phipps.
Present.
Councillor Hayden Pritchard.
Emma.
Councillor Judith Pritchard.
Emma.
Councillor Rayo. Because she was here. Councillor Sorales.
Present.
Councillor Julian Simmons.
Present, Chair.
Then we're on to Councillor Carl Thomas.
Present.
Councillor Whitcomb.
Present.
Councillor Whittle. Councillor Shane Williams.
Present.
Councillor Walter Williams.
Present.
And Councillor Kerry Wright.
Present.
I think I've got all the scrutiny members. And the cabinet members, Councillor Carol Andrews.
Present.
I've got Councillor Elaine Forehead.
Present.
Councillor Chris Morgan.
Present.
And I can see Councillor James Pritchard and then Councillor Lynette Stenner.
Present.
Present.
Thank you, members.
Before we move on to agenda item 2, Councillor George.
I'm present.
I can see you, Councillor George. Councillor Priest, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I don't know whether they call my name, but I am here, obviously.
He did mention he was in.
Yeah.
Ticked him off.
Yeah, we got it. We got it, Councillor Priest. And Councillor Anne Gay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm present also.
Thank you, Councillor Gay. We'll move on to agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and/or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Are there any declarations of interest? I presume your hand is raised, Councillor Gay, because it's a legacy hand. Councillor Gay, can you lower your hand, please? Thank you. On to agenda item 3, which is the Joint Scrutiny Committee held on the 26th of October 2023. And that's on pages 1 to 6 of your agenda pack. So we'll go through the pages one by one. Anything on page 1? Anything on page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Page 5? Page 6?
Chair.
Councillor Owen.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having some problems. That's why I couldn't get in and answer on the roll call. Yeah, on page 5, with reference to the well-being objective, number 5, I did speak at the sort of end of the debate, but it was what I've said really was across the whole set of objectives. So I would like that noted. I did put in an email just prior to the meeting to Julie, the committee services officer, to say that the issue that I have with the measuring the performance, etc., it relates to right across the board, all the objectives. Although I did speak at the end, but I did make that clear, and I would like that to be made clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Owen.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the minutes? Can I have a mover and seconder, please?
Move, Chair.
Move the minutes, Chair.
Take that as a mover and seconder. Can we have the voting slip up, please?
Yeah, I don't have a voting slip, so can I just cast my vote in favour?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Miles. Councillor Miles votes in favour.
And me the same, Chair.
And you'll be abstaining, Councillor Inge, because you weren't present. It's fair enough.
On
Okay.
myself, Councillor Priest, I am going to vote in slip up.
And
Okay,
Councillor
thank you.
Dawn Ingram Jones, I am going to slip either.
Right.
I'm for.
I think we've got you all.
They moved, Chair.
Yeah, the minutes are therefore moved. So moved to agenda item 4, which is a substantive item on the agenda. And it's the draft waste strategy. It's on pages 7 to 66 of your agenda pack. And this is going to be introduced by Councillor Chris Morgan, Cabinet Member for Waste, Leisure and Green Spaces. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Building on the route map, which was considered by Joint Scrutiny Committee prior to approval by Cabinet in July 2023, the waste strategy sets out the strategic direction and longer-term plan to ensure that the Council meets and exceeds its statutory performance targets, whilst being realistic about the timelines and resources required to meet these ambitions. It is important to understand the size, scale and complexity of the challenges ahead. The strategy explores key areas of data to set out our current performance, as well as setting out the rationale for the proposed interventions and service changes. We are ambitious, yet realistic in what can be achieved. Globally, we are facing a climate emergency and our consumption of resources is unsustainable. The need to act for the benefit of the climate and our environment has never been more vital. It is clear that we cannot make the changes alone and a collective effort is required. It is important that residents and our communities have the opportunity to shape these proposals. It is proposed that a 12-week consultation period commences in February 2024, should Cabinet approve the draft waste strategy whilst considering the views of this joint scrutiny committee. A draft engagement strategy and the draft consultation questionnaire have been developed to gain the views of our residents on the proposed changes to the service provision. This authority is at risk of circa £2 million per annum fines for not achieving statutory recycling targets. This amount will undoubtedly rise if we do not fulfil our commitment to improve. The Minister previously took a decision not to fine Caerphilly, subject to a root and branch review and supplementary actions being implemented to meet future targets. This draft waste strategy sets out how Caerphilly will minimise the negative impacts of waste on the environment by reducing waste, ensuring items are used again, recycled for further manufacturing or sent for recovery. It builds upon the short-term interventions already approved by Cabinet within the route map and provides evidence to the Minister of Caerphilly's commitment to make change. The engagement and support of elected members has been crucial in shaping the policies and procedures that will necessary to support the delivery of the waste strategy. In July 2023, Cabinet agreed with the recommendation of Joint Scrutiny Committee to establish a cross-party members working group to include trade union representatives, which has been instrumental in the development of the draft strategy. This strategy has included recommendations from the all-party working group of elected members and trade unions, who have also worked diligently with officers to formulate a way forward so that we can achieve the targets required by Welsh Government. The Council's waste and recycling service needs to improve not only to meet the current and future statutory recycling targets, but to support the transition to net zero by 2030. Through the setting of 5 strategic objectives and key actions, the strategy sets out how Caerphilly will achieve these ambitions. Whilst the challenge to deliver such a wide-ranging changes should not be underestimated, the strategy sets out realistic timescales to deliver the changes required. To achieve this, the Council and its residents are going to need to work differently and together, as it's clear that we cannot do this alone. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Now open for debate. I've been pre-advised of one question from Councillor Etheridge, so I'll take that one first. Councillor Etheridge.
Thank you, Councillor Whitcomb. Before I ask a question, none of us here wants to be fined by the Senate, and I would like to welcome and thank the officers and Cabinet for their commitment in regard this draft sort of waste strategy. My question is, Cabinet recently voted not to proceed with a booking system. Yet on, I believe, page 42, it refers to a trial booking system. Can we please shelve the booking system, and if not, can we have a vote tonight on the proposal not to go forward with a booking system? Now, I appreciate that this scrutiny can only make a recommendation to Cabinet, but I would like the removal of any booking system from the draft proposals. I would welcome the views of other members on this, but if there is no agreement, I would like, Chair, for a formal vote to be taken. That's if somebody would kindly second that proposal. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. I'll come back to you in a moment about whether to put this to a vote. Is that recommendation, was that something the working party asked to be put in the report? So therefore, it's the working party's recommendation that we include in the consultation a booking system.
Yeah, Chair, since the Cabinet voted not to do it, the working party decided otherwise.
Right, okay, fine, thank you. I'll go back to you now, Councillor Etheridge. Is anybody prepared to second what Councillor Etheridge wants to be? I
Yes,
believe it's a
I'll
motion
second
which
that.
puts the floor. And Councillor
I'll
Pritchard has
second that.
seconded it. Right, we'll have to have a voting slip up now. We'll have to create the question, the motion Councillor Etheridge put, that the booking system be removed from the consultation exercise. But let's bear in mind, I'll come to you now, Councillor Morgan, but let's bear in mind that that was something the working party had recommended be included in the consultation process. Councillor Morgan.
Yeah, Chair, I got representative from the Welsh Government here from RAP. I don't bother bring Emma in to speak about this before it's voted on. It's a major pillar of the document.
Councillor Cuss.
Yeah, do you think it'd be appropriate for one of the officers to introduce, you know, the outcome of the working group so they can give us a bit of explanation before we go on to motions and all that sort of stuff?
I can put the vote at the end of the report anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite legitimate, Councillor Cuss, that we ask one of the officers to explain what the working party recommended, and if the representative of Welsh Government wishes to provide belt and braces, as it were, for that sort of inclusion, we'll go from there. But I have got other people listed, and I've got you listed on my book. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Councillor Cuss, I can certainly take you briefly through the series of meetings that the cross-party members working group held. They started in September and ran through the winter, finishing sort of late January. So the members working group considered meetings on a theme basis. So if you turn to page 22 of the report, table 11, you will see there a summary of what the members working group considered and agreed. So start back in September, we looked at curbside recycling, where we were having issues with contamination of recycling, people not recycling properly. Members of the steering group recommended that we adopt what we call Section 46 enforcement procedures. A report was submitted to Cabinet to that effect, and that was agreed on the 18th of October. At the next meeting then on the 26th of September, we looked at curbside organics, i.e. sort of food and garden waste, where the members working group were in favour of a push in terms of promoting home composting, promoting the message that families waste too much food and consequently too much money. So a message to reduce food waste and utilise any leftover foods that can be left over. In terms of garden waste moving forward, the working group was in favour of offering a free service, but on a seasonal basis. So i.e. sort of spring through to the autumn, not through the dark, dingy days of winter. And that be backed up with a campaign to reduce grass cutting, you know, the biodiversity message that we put out in terms of our grounds maintenance service. On the 8th of October then, the working group discussed trade waste. There is new legislation the Welsh Government consulted on and passed back in the autumn, which comes into force in April 2024, which will require all commercial, in essence, all commercial premises to not put recycling in their residual waste. That we need to revisit with the working group because it was really early stages and we're still in the throes of finalising our plan. So that will need to come back. On the 19th of October then, they considered waste modelling options. I'll explain that now. So Emma Hallett is here from RAP, which is the Waste Resources Action Programme. They are engaged on behalf of Welsh Government to undertake modelling of service change with local authorities. RAP have been doing that modelling with us for quite some time, and the modelling looks at different collection systems to optimise recycling and maximise your target achievement. So the steering group had quite a long discussion around those modelling options and favoured the move to the blueprint, what we call a blueprint collection system, which is rather than a brown bin with everything in it, source segregated collection using boxes and bags. Various neighbours of ours like Merthyr, Newport use that system, and to move to that, not immediately because it can't be done immediately, requires some infrastructure changes, and also there's a long leading time for vehicles. We're probably looking at that being 3 years away, but that was the favoured option. Food waste being collected with that recycling on a specialist resource recovery vehicle, and garden waste being collected, as I said, seasonally, fortnightly in a weighted reusable sack. Then at the meeting on the 24th of October, the group looked at residual waste or our refuse service, if you like, where the members endorsed the move from a fortnightly service to a 3-weekly residual waste collection service, supported by the introduction of a separate weekly collection service for absorbent hygiene products, i.e. Nappies, incontinence pads, etc. Also, members wanted to extend the use of Section 46 enforcement that we've already got approval for in terms of recycling to the residual waste service. So if somebody's putting food waste, for example, or recyclables that could go in the recycling stream in the residual bin, then we will go through that process with them. And also the group were in favour of doing some work around zoning our collection rounds. In a nutshell, zoning is basically, I'll try and explain it in simple terms. So at the minute, when our collection vehicles leave the depot, they may go, one might go to Risco, one might go to Caerphilly, one might go to Rumney, etc., to collect refuse. Zoning moves the entire fleet to one area at a time. So it may be that you sweep the valley, you start in Rumney, all of our collection vehicles are working in that area, say on a Monday, so they'll probably, do Rumney, Ponlotte, Newtoniga, all within their capacity. So if there are any breakdowns or problems with one collection round, the other vehicles are there to help out, and then they'll move through the borough like that. Would hopefully, we think, will improve the customer experience and improve our ability to deal with miscollections. And we also talked with a group about outlying properties, farms particularly, where we can easily travel 2 or 3 miles down some pretty rickety lanes, which wrecks vehicles, when lots of our neighbours insist that farmers bring their waste to a collection point. Then on the 10th of November, the group looked at household recycling centres and favoured the rationalising of our household waste recycling centres from the 6 down to 4, 3, 5, whatever it may be, and those proposals would need to come forward at a later date. And also at that meeting, the group supported the introduction of a booking system in order to cope with pre-sort requirements. So pre-sort requirements, as a joint scrutiny committee, you agreed last summer the route map, which was then approved by Cabinet, and that route map contained a number of quick wins. Pre-sort requirements for our household recycling centres was one of those quick wins, something we could implement fairly easily. So again, lots of our neighbours and lots of authorities across Wales use this, where they don't allow a black bag of mixed residual waste to be deposited at the household recycling centre. It has to be sorted out to maximise the amount of recycling in it. So that is due to be introduced next month in Caerphilly. And I know that you, as members, you've had some information around that. What a booking system will do is enable us to plan the time that we need to spend with customers coming to the site with black bags, because inevitably this will take some time to bed in. So rather than that causing queues, because people are potentially going to be at the site longer, it will enable effective planning. But I'm partially stealing Emma's thunder. I'll bring Emma in a minute. And then the last meeting we held of the group was on the 23rd of November, and that meeting was discussing the sort of digitalization of the service and the move from lots of sort of paper records flying around the organisation to the use of sort of in-cab technologies to improve the way we handle the service and customer interactions. If I can ask Emma to come in now, Chair, is that okay? On
Yeah,
the book
certainly.
system? Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Emma Hallett, and as Marcus explained, I work for the Waste Resources Action Programme. We work with councils across Wales, helping them to develop their waste and recycling strategies. So one of the steering group, working group meetings, we talked about 8 household recycling centre booking systems, and I've been asked just to give you a bit of a flavour of what we see as some of the advantages of using such a system. So most booking systems across Wales came in really during the COVID period. If you remember, when recycling centres reopened, there was a real concern to make sure that they remained safe. But quite a lot of councils have maintained them since the end of those COVID restrictions, and about half of all councils in Wales are using a booking system in one shape or form at the moment. And I think really one of the advantages, the big advantages that we see around having a booking system is it means that there is more of a management of the demand at any one moment in time on the site. So through the booking system, you would establish a number of slots per half hour or per hour. And then when members of the public have booked for that, you know how many people are going to be on site. The staff on the site are then able to help with the pre-sort requirements, make sure that residents are able to work out where things should go so that they can get as recycled as well as possible. And it also means that there'll be less queuing outside the site. You don't get the same peaks and troughs of usage because you have an idea of the number of people in each potential session. Additionally, one of the things that we found is that because booking to use a site means that a resident has given you their details, their registration number, whereabouts they live, then that actually it removes an amount of the anonymity, so that occasionally there are unfortunately times when residents are not as well behaved as they should be. They can become rude or aggressive towards operatives working on the sites. And the introduction of the booking system, councils tell us, has reduced that quite substantially, because there is that lack of anonymity, and also there is that more control around the number of people on site at any one particular time. It also helps to reduce the misuse or potential misuse of recycling centres, reducing people trying to use trade waste or coming from across the border from another local authority area where people for some reason would want to use your sites instead of the sites in their own area. And then also it really gives an insight into the use of the sites, so that as a council you're better able to manage the sites. You understand exactly how many people are using the sites at what times, and that kind of thing, which enables you to ensure that you've got sufficient staff on site but not too many staff. And then with time, generally councils are able to even streamline the booking systems further. So if they find that actually the sites can keep up with the number of people in a particular slot, they might increase the amount of cars that are allowed on at any one time. And so generally, councils that have the systems are really very pleased with them and are happy to continue to use them.
Thank you very much. Mark?
Yeah, apologies, Chair. I should have mentioned when I was talking about the working group that in addition to the series of meetings that I described, to be fair to the working group, hard working group of members, they went on a number of site visits. So they went to look at our own waste transfer station Full Moon. went to look at facilities at the Bryn Group, went to look at the new household recycling centre at Rose Hayworth in Blaenau Gwent, and they went to the Vale of Glamorgan to look at their new recyclable sorting and bulking facility down there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mark. We're going to take Councillor Etheridge's motion at the end of the reports, because I'll allow the debate continue, because there may be some things coming up. I've got 4 indications, and the first one was Councillor Whittle.
Thank you, Chair. Wasn't expecting to be so quick. My first question was going to be identical to Councillor Etheridge's, so I shall reserve that question for later and perhaps be seconding Councillor Etheridge. So the next 2 questions are on the system of moving to 3 weekly collection for green bins. I recall that there was some discussion of reassuring those larger families who genuinely need more waste collected than the smaller families, that in fact they would have recourse to make a request to this council that they in fact could either have an additional bin or a larger bin, or even some further assistance. So can I ask, will that still hold, please? And second question, has any consideration been given to some kind of sort and sell shop? When I visit my daughter in Sidmouth in Devon, the district council there operates an amazing system. It's very similar to our civic community sites, except the teams of staff there actually sort through your waste with you, and then there is a small warehouse next to the development where I can tell you there are rows of bicycles, wheelchairs, Zimmers, golf clubs, furniture, crockery, tables, chairs, patio furniture, books, records, you name it, it's there, and you can buy it at an extremely low rate. If anybody was interested in golf, I could go there tomorrow. In fact, I'm going there Friday, and I could buy you 60 sets of golf clubs at a very reasonable rate. So that would in fact prevent all of those items going into landfill. And I think that's an idea that we should examine and look at, because I can assure you, whenever I visit, and I do visit often, that warehouse is full of people actually buying stuff that other people have thrown away. And I think, again, that prevents more stuff going into landfill and gets it reused again. So 2 questions really: 3 weekly collection and a sort and sell shop, please.
Thank you, Councillor Whittle. Councillor Morgan.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, Councillor Whittle, no problem with having extra bins. You know, families are struggling. It's there from that's no problem. And anybody who got any particular issues, you know, the officers are up for discussion. With regards to the facility you mentioned, yeah, it's a fantastic facility, but the sounds of it sounds just like the one we got in Penalta, which is very, very busy. And over the Christmas period, actually had to hold off taking donations because it is so popular. So, you know, we're already doing that. That was part of the previous scrutiny, which thankfully everybody agreed to. And I know people are supporting it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Whittle. Yeah.
Could it be used everywhere? Sorry, in every civic community site? Sorry.
Yeah, that's I think that's something we're going to look into. That's something we want to bring to all sites.
Thank you, Councillor Priest.
Fine, thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's like everything I listened to tonight now. Fine, I listened to a lot of things in the past. It is the organisation. If the organisation works, we shouldn't be meeting next year and talking the same things again, hopefully. It is sometimes the simplistic things that work. I can't believe that we haven't really pushed on, just put it on the bags exactly what we put in there. Like I think we brought that in last year. I should imagine, without having any figures in front of me, that would be very successful. So all I'm saying is, although I go along with everything, simplistic things, and you don't complicate things when people got to ring in and things like that, because if they ring in and it's not there, whatever they got in their left hand where they phone in will be chucked there and then where they are. All I'm trying to say is, please try and keep it simple. The most simple things are sometimes the most successful things. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Priest. I don't think that requires a response. I'll move on to Councillor Judith Pritchard.
Yes, thank you. I was a member of the Working Party and it was extremely interesting. It was hard work, but I would like to thank the officers for the information that they gave us and for organising the visits for us. However, I don't agree with booking. The Working Party, a majority of the Working Party voted in favour, but it was not unanimous. It was 4-2. 4 people voted for booking and 2 people, including myself, voted against. And when we were asked the question about booking, it was when we'd just come back from a very nice household recycling centre. I keep wanting to say civic amenity site. It took me a long time to learn that one, in Blaenau Gwent. And we were given to understand, I believe, that's what my interpretation of what we were told was, that you could actually turn up on the day and then book from the end of the queue if it wasn't too busy by phone. Well, now I've read the extra information that we were given with these papers about the booking system, and it's quite obvious that Caerphilly is only going to have people on the end of the phone in office hours, weekdays. So Saturday and Sunday, people will not be able to book. And might I suggest this is very inconvenient for people who are working because they may not be available to phone in office hours. And may want to go at the weekends, and it will be very difficult for them, I think. And I think it will also be difficult for quite a lot of residents who make a spontaneous decision to go to what we used to call the tip, the household recycling centre, which happens quite often because it depends on the weather, whether you're going to turn out your garage or whatever you're going to do. So I think it's premature at the moment. I think there's another problem as well, that our phone system is not very good. I've tried through various departments to get somebody on the phone, and frankly it's quite a nightmare. And I know a lot of members complain that they can't get through, or there's nobody at the end of the phone or whatever. So I think until we sort out our telephone problems and until we see whether the sorting, which I do agree with, settles down, I think we should hang fire. And I entirely agree with Kevin Etheridge's motion. We should not introduce booking at this time. We should introduce sorting, and people will have to get used to that. But I think booking is a step too far. I have got another comment to make, which has nothing to do with booking, so I might as well make it now. And that is that I think there's overemphasis on providing the council with our food waste rather than cutting down and planning what we buy, so we've got less food waste, and using up leftovers. And I would like to see a greater emphasis on that. It's very important because excess food production is one of the things that pushes climate change, and the less we consume in the way of food, the better it'll be for the climate. So could we beef up the strategy a bit more to emphasize not producing the waste in the first place, and only putting what is absolutely necessary and you can't eat into the bin. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. Mark Williams.
Totally agree with Councillor Pritchard on the food waste. The average family of 4 wastes hundreds of pounds every year in throwing out food that doesn't need to be thrown out. That those statistics are available across the UK. Just in terms of the booking system, just to remind members, what this is proposing is a trial. So it is only a trial it's proposing. It isn't only telephone. If you look at the most successful booking systems, Pembrokeshire have got quite a good one where you can use online app, etc. You can book on the same day. If there's a slot available, you can book now and arrive 30 minutes from now. So we'd be looking to replicate that type of approach in the trial. But as I say, it is a trial. That's what's proposed at this stage.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Next to my list, Councillor Nigel Dix.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. On the booking system, I got a few concerns that have been already voiced tonight regarding people who are going to just, you know, today I want to go down the tip and offload my stuff, and I got to book up. They might just turn up at a quiet lane up by Markham and drive in and back it out there and dump it there, which happens quite often. So I'd like to, I wonder if Emma has got the information with the council she's been working with across Wales to see whether they have introduced this booking system. Has it increased the amount of fly tipping? Have we got those statistics? Because that's what I feel will happen, is because people will load up their vehicles, find out they can't get there, then might not be aware of the booking system or can't be bothered to use the booking system, and they will just dump it in a quiet lane somewhere, as they do at the moment when they can't get down the tip to dump it off. Regarding the comment about people eating too much, I don't think we want to go down the road of back to the Second World War where we rationed people and people had ration books and were allowed to eat certain amounts of food on certain days. We do live in a free society at the moment where we can make choices ourselves based on our own decision-making processes. I don't think that's up to councils to be prescribing people what they can eat and what they can't eat, or who eats too much or who don't eat enough. I think that is something for individuals to decide, not for governments or elected people in any shape, way or form. You can give advice, but it's up to people to decide that themselves. But I have got real concerns regarding the unwanted effects of the booking system, which I believe would be more fly tipping, and I'd like to see some stats and figures around that, where they have introduced a system, to see if that has been the case.
Here comes the text. Mark, Emma.
Hi, I don't think we have any analysis of recent fly tipping data. I mean, it is available from councils, and that's something we could try to look at. It is notoriously difficult to really make any definite conclusions out of it, because it moves around quite a lot, and it is recorded slightly differently across different councils. But if that was something that was requested, it was certainly an analysis we could do for you.
I see Councillor Dix wants to come back in, but I'll just make the point. I think it would be a good idea if we had a ring round to see if there has been an increase in fly tipping and authorities to use a booking system. Councillor Dix.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I think it's vital that we get these stats before we move forward, just to see what the effect is. We're in a fortunate situation that other councils have gone before and done this, so that information should be there. However, the councils collate it, it's still information that we can be used. Fly tipping is fly tipping, whether it's in Carmarthen or whether it's in Rhondda, Taff or in Newport. If something is left on the side of a road in a black plastic bag or dumped, that's fly tipping. It's not complicated. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Dix. Councillor Shane Williams.
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to spend too long going into the whys and wherefores of the booking system, the advantages or disadvantages, because it wasn't that long ago that we had a very detailed scrutiny committee where that information was digested and analysed, and we came to quite a substantial view that this committee, most members here, were against the booking system. Indeed, I think, as I've said many times, there was a previous consultation exercise and the majority of the residents were against the booking system. We've even got the cabinet against the booking system. And now we have another attempt to bring in the booking system. We haven't put anything else in place before we bring back this attempt to bring in a booking system. And I heard that it said it's a trial. As I understand it, it's a trial at all the recycling centres. And I don't think we're going to spend so much money developing an app, digitization program, and then go back to what we've got now. And I heard the point that half the councils that have the booking system, well, half the councils don't. I don't know if the working group went to Lloyd Coyd or Rhondda and Taff, where they don't have a booking system. But I would say
that the majority's experience, they don't have the queues. The queues were an example of COVID. They are not the norm now. And one thing the booking system will do, it will make it harder for people to recycle. We are talking about encouraging people to recycle, to make it easier for people to recycle. We seem to want to put obstacles in the way for people to recycle and access these tips. Even to the point, the suggestion is we should cut 2 recycling centres. I think that the risk is very real that fly tipping is likely to result. I think the last suggestion, we was going to have even more people working to monitor the fly tipping and to act against any increase in fly tipping, because it was very really recognised that was a likely consequence. But I say again, Chair, it doesn't seem to matter how many times we say it, that we as a council are against the booking system, that more and more effort is trying to bring in a booking system, be it a pilot, be it a trial, or whatever. How many times do we have to say it is not the model that we want here in Caerphilly? We can, and I urge all our members who voted against last time to support Councillor Edge's suggestion, and I think we should take the booking system off and let the other things work their way through. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Councillor Morgan, you want to respond?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, thanks, Councillor Williams. Passionate statement, but what we've got to take into account is we got the sword of Damocles hanging over our heads in the form of £2 million worth of fines, which could increase. We're working with Welsh Government. We're taking advice from Welsh Government. This pillar of the strategy could give us 1 to 1.5% extra on top of our recycling figures. Like this time last year, we were looking at 64%. Next financial year, we're looking at 70%. We got to scrap to get to 70%. Whether we're going to get there, I don't know. All we could do is try. But we've got to move with the times. This council's got to move with the times. We're behind all the others around us. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Cass.
Thanks. I try not to repeat what's been said, but I agree with quite a lot what Councillor Williams had just said. There are authorities that don't have a booking system and it works. So, to say that, that we are going to be fined if we don't have the booking system is ludicrous, because it doesn't happen in Merthyr. I've spoken to my colleagues in Merthyr who don't have a booking system and it works really well. So I can't see why it can't work in Caerphilly. So, I'm going to support the motion to take away the booking system. I don't know how many times I've got to say it. I sound like a parrot sometimes in my own group and obviously in Scrutiny as well. But so I'll support that. In terms of the, amenity sites, I can see that they're looking at rationalising them. And I would just urge the Cabinet, if they're going to look at rationalising these sites, is to look at the geography of the borough. I got it's not my ward, it's Councillor Haas's ward, where the amenity site is there. And if you take that away from the north of the borough, you're depriving people of the north. So the nearest one then they'll have to go down is Aberbargoed. And I don't think it's fair on the residents of the north of the borough if Rumney is suggested. I'm not certain, but I just want to put it out there that I don't support taking away Rumney. We've got, I think the Cabinet needs to look at a top, middle and bottom approach when it comes to these amenity sites, and not just, get rid of the one up the north because it's small and there's not many people up there. There's a community that exists up there and we will fight for them when we live. My other question would be the containers that we will be putting out for residents. Obviously it's going to be a bit of a logistical problem to start with, but I'm sure people will get used to it. It's going to cost a lot of money. all of this, and I'm just wondering, where's the funding coming from? Have we got support from Welsh Government to implement all of these things, or is it just coming out of our own finances? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Cass. Mark Williams.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Cuss. Just I'll answer the funding question. I think the others were more sort of comments related, but the main aspects of the costs of capital, obviously new vehicles, containers, depot, and waste bulking infrastructure. Welsh Government have been clear from day one they won't fund any revenue costs, but they are likely to support a contribution to capital. What that level of what that will be, we don't know yet. Typically in other authorities, 60-40, 50-50, that sort of area, but obviously Welsh Government budgets are also under pressure. So there will be capital contribution required from us, but hopefully Welsh Government will kind of match that with their own contribution as well.
Thank you, Mark. Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members, Noswaith Pawb. Really, I don't have anything to say about, you'll be pleased to know, about the booking system. I think that's been done to death. I also would like to congratulate officers, all members of the working group, everybody that's been involved in the production of this waste strategy. I think it's fantastic. I don't think it's controversial apart from the booking system. I think clearly we need to move from our current situation and we need to make changes. But what I want to draw members' attention to in particular, the bit that I find most useful, and you might be surprised, is Appendix 2, which is the draft engagement strategy, because I think this is a really, really comprehensive, helpful document, because I always see, whenever I see residents' reactions to things the council has changed, residents are always complaining that they haven't been consulted. Now, this is a really full, comprehensive statement, and it says things like, if the public has a sound basis for expecting to be consulted, then failure to do so can lead to losing a judicial review, and judges have ruled out that if people are being accustomed to the benefit of a service, then its withdrawal without consultation can in many circumstances be unlawful. Now, you might work out where I'm going with that one. I won't say anything else on that. But where I'm getting to, sorry, on this is, first of all, is this engagement strategy purely for this waste strategy, or is it now a general strategy, engagement strategy for all of the changes, new strategies and things that the council might be introducing in the future, such as budget proposals, the Filling Master Plan, things like that? I do have other specific questions, but I'll leave them for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. I think I know the answer you're going to get, but Mark, would you like to?
If I can, Chair, I'm going to defer to Hayley Lancaster, who's just sat down there, who is our guru on all things engagement related, and is the architect and writer of this, as Councillor Reid described it, very comprehensive engagement strategy. Thank you, Chair.
Hayley?
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thank you for your comment, Councillor Reid. I mean, this strategy itself is written for the purposes of the waste strategy. However, the principles within this waste strategy are ones that we operate in, regardless of what the consultation is. So, you know, we are bound by, not just us, public sector bodies, by the gunning principles, which you'll see are outlined there. And, you know, the fact that if residents are accustomed to a service, any changes to that service are therefore part of a far-reaching consultation. So while this strategy is written for this particular draft waste strategy, the principles remain regardless of what consultation we run as a council.
Thank you, Hayley.
Thank you.
Next on my list is Councillor Morales.
Thank you, Chair. When we look at something like this and decide that everything that is involved in the process is essential, and then we've got at the back of our minds that if we don't do it, it's a £2 million fine, effectively, that we've got to take on. I think to close something down, an aspect of this, to close something down, I know we voted against it in the past, but to close it down at this stage, when we've got £2 million, that's what keeps on going round in my head. £2 million. And we need to take every opportunity that we can to ensure that we are not lumbered with that amount of money, because it's not us in this chamber that's going to suffer the consequences. It's the public out there. They might find it a bit inconvenient, as people have been saying, to have a booking system. But everything that I do requires a booking system. If I want to go to the doctors, I have to have a book. I have to make a book, an appointment. If I go to the cinema, I've got to phone up and book a ticket.
Can I ask members to be respectful? That Councillor Sorrells, I would say, you can hear a number of conversations on in the chamber. Councillor Sorrells.
Thank you. So you know, I think we're very short-sighted if we don't take this on as a whole. It's such a critical thing. And when we put in things or comments like, well, it's going to increase flight tipping. Flight tippers are criminals. Does it mean that one of us is likely to be throwing a bag out simply because we got a booking system? Not at all. I mean, people out there are honest and genuine. They are not going to flight tip. Leave it to the criminals and we'll deal with the criminals that do that. And we know that we can fine them very heavily for it. So let's not have issues thrown in about flight tipping. I mean, that's a side effect that is only affected by people, or only practiced by people who are criminals. So look, £2 million is what we're talking about. And for £2 million, will I phone up and book? Certainly I will. And I'll do it every time. And will the public do it? Yes, they will.
Yes.
So, you know, let's think about this seriously. It's simply a telephone call, booking, making sure that we put in every opportunity to recycle correctly and to make sure that we're not lumbered with a £2 million fine at the end of it. Because if we don't do it and we fail, it will be because of a silly error that we've made in not taking on all the opportunities that we've had to recycle.
Okay, Councillor Sorrells, I don't think that requires an officer response, so I'll move on to Councillor Gary Enright. And I will say I've got a number of speakers here, but I will say that I've already spoken who've popped up on my list. And you're going to like this. I don't want you to recycle the same argument you've just used. I want it to be different. And if it isn't different, I'm not going to allow it. So there's the rules.
Can I just add one other thing, Chair? If I may, the only thing that I have concern about is a 10-page questionnaire when it comes to consultation. I mean, quite seriously, I've read through that questionnaire. I got pretty bored by page 5. And if we are going to have a questionnaire, I hope that it's been practiced prior to putting it out with the public to see whether or not it is a questionnaire that people can fill in and provide us with an honest and decent response. I think 10 pages of any questionnaire with lots of side questions asking us why we said this and why we decided to do that makes the whole exercise a bit difficult for people to get involved in.
Thank you, Councillor Sorrells. Councillor Gary Enright.
Chair, I'll be quick because I think most of this argument has been done to death, but I just want to touch on the cost for the booking system. With all due respect to Mark Williams, I get it's a trial, 115,000. That's not a trial. You know, that's an extensive amount of money to, you know, develop an app and IT and all that kind of stuff. If it comes in, it's going to be in. I'm looking at the Blaenau Gwent model. I accept they haven't got as many areas as ourselves, but they have part book and part not, you know, and that might be something you might consider moving down the line. But I think with any strategy, we have to make it easy for these residents, because not all will comply, you know. And I take Councillor Sorrells' comments. Not everybody's a criminal, sir, you know, and I've got neighbours next door to me that will not recycle, will chuck their rubbish in the lane. Now, I'm slightly concerned, I have to say, that we've got a strategy here and we're missing some key elements, and perhaps we can look at this further down the line. But the fly tipping around the borough is extensive. You've only got to drive down the bypasses and people are throwing out their, you know, fast food wrappers, sweets, crisps, you know, it's strewn, bed bases, drive down the A469. you've got 2 bed bases, you've got a mattress, you've got cardboard boxes, and that is coming from trucks that are not covered. So where is that within our strategy? Where is that? You know, why aren't we addressing the companies within the area to bring them to task? You know, add up the figures, 115,000 for a booking system and 240,000 for bin liners that I'm already told are not going to be used because the quality is not up to standard. You know, I think we need to move with the times. We clearly do, right? But we also need to be mindful that that is 353,000 that could be used for additional officers. You know, I just think we're using the money in the wrong area. I definitely think we need a fly tipping policy. And we need to look at this as a broad brush. And that's the only comments I'll make at the moment. Thanks, Chair.
You want to respond, Mark? Right, fair enough. Can I ask Councillor Sorrells and Councillor Enright to put your hands down, please, because it makes it confusing for this old fella up here. Councillor Lisa Phipps.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's a comment about the booking system. Sorry to go back to that, but if there is so much objection to a booking system throughout all the CA sites, what can somebody explain, or could we not revisit the trial at just one of our CA sites? Please.
Thank you, Councillor Phipps. Mark Williams.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. You know, obviously that can be done. The kind of software development costs are probably, you know, you probably wouldn't save much money in terms of for one site compared to 6. I think one of the issues is the data that we want to gather, which the booking system will give us some real quality data. You know, we don't even get 1/6 of it then, and not a picture across the borough. So that's the disadvantage of one site, but it can be done.
Thank you, Mark. I noticed I've got 7 speakers left to go. That'll push the time on considerably. Councillor Gary Johnson being the last, so I'll cut it off then and we'll go to some of the votings. Councillor Amanda O'Connell.
Thank you, Chair. I was part of the working group also. I think Councillor Sorrells took my thunder and said what I wanted to say, but I needed to come in as well myself, just to say that we need to move with the times, and to remember the booking system is only just a trial at the present time. Also, as said, it is more than just a booking a slot. It will tell the councils so much more. And with regards to people who fly tip, people will fly tip regardless whether there's a booking system or not, and should be prosecuted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McConnell. Councillor Mann.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, as you requested, I won't repeat a lot of what has been said, although I do agree with the vast majority of people who are concerned about the booking system. I think it will lead to increased fly tipping, and it will also mean that less people will bother to recycle. We have a booking system, I believe it's still operating, for vans. And I have made several complaints about that system over the years because it seems completely overcomplicated. And again, it leads to people fly tipping because they just can't get through the system. If this new system is going to be like the van system we brought in, it's going to be horrendous, Chair. And I think the whole thing needs a good looking at. Whether you have a booking system or not, it's not a silver bullet to whether we're going to pay £2 million fines is far bigger issues than the booking system. And you know, we need, as my ward colleague said a few minutes ago, if we can employ more officers, and one of the things we could do is get more education out there, because a lot of people just don't appreciate the issues, and they need to be brought on board. And in fact, there are so many people who are just not on board at the moment. So spending money on things which may not work, I think, is far less important than spending money on people who will actually go and talk to people and explain what it's all about. Thank you, Chair. On Chair, apologies. I will have to leave about 20 to 7 for another meeting.
Oh, I hope to be voting before 20 to 7 comes to the
I hope so too, Chair.
Yeah.
Otherwise record my
Councillor Kerry
objection, please.
Wright. Yes, Councillor Kerry Wright.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, as with Amanda before me, Councillor Sorales did a very excellent job of saying quite a lot of things that I wanted to say so very, very well. Just a further thing on this, and it refers to the booking system and why I would prefer that to have been, withdrawn. Withdraw the vote to amend this report, because I'm very much in favour of a booking system, and relates actually to what Councillor Mann just said about changing behaviour. As part of the working group, when we visited the site at Rose Hayworth, the feedback from the workers there was that it worked. It absolutely worked. It allowed the booking system allowed the operatives to know how many people were coming in and when, to be able then to have enough people on site at the ramps to help the residents then unload their already pre-sorted materials to go into the appropriate receptacles. It is essential, I think, for this waste strategy to succeed. As with other aspects of this waste strategy, we will have residents who won't like it, but we have to move with the times and update, or we are going to be faced with that fine. And can councillors remember that that fine of £2 million per annum would equate, and the only way we'd be able to fund it would be through increasing council tax, and a fine of £2 million per year for each year we fail to achieve our recycling targets means that we would have to add 3.3% onto the council tax each year. Our residents, majority of whom wants to recycle and do their best, this is the motivation to succeed with this, because they will have to pay, and they will have to pay a lot. So therefore, can we please support the whole of the waste strategy and keep the booking system? Thank you.
I don't think there's enough response required there. Councillor Teresa Heron.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to move away from the waste booking system. I wanted to move on to Pillar 4, page 14, curbside residual. I understand the top hatting, bag stacks on top of the bins and side waste. My issue is we held a council surgery last week at United Welsh and their sheltered accommodation. The biggest concern that was raised that particular day was from the residents because of the misuse of their bins. When I did send an email about this and I yet to have a response, but I went to look at the bins, and the green bins had microwaves, kettles and lamps. The brown bins had hygiene products put inside them, and obviously food wastes. They don't use food bins, food caddies, and they've got no idea on the recycling needs and how they should look after the residual waste. Part of the problem you've got is you've got a various group of people with various disabilities understandings, and it's very difficult to identify who owns what bin, because in a bin store. So I'm moving on to Pillar 2, curbside dry recycling, where they say there's going to be eventually introduce a Section 46 enforcement notice as a last resort to non-compliance. How on earth are we going to introduce a Section 46 when we don't know who owns what bins? The other problem I've got is how many sheltered accommodations have we got in within Caerphilly Borough? Because if we start to work alongside the residents by showing them and explaining and working alongside them, hopefully this is going to be a huge thing with waste if we don't get it right. And yet nobody's working with them. And this is United Welsh, amongst other housing associations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heron. Mark, you want to pick that up? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Councillor Heron, apologies. I know I haven't responded to you yet. It will be with you tomorrow. Section 46 is not a magic bullet. There are circumstances where it is very difficult or impossible to use, but there are many more circumstances where it can be used. The particular premises I think that you speaking about also has a warden. So yes, what we will do is try and work with that warden and the residents. We'll dispatch some of our recycling advisors there to talk to them about what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Can I come back on that, please?
Yes, you can, Councillor Herring.
The warden is 1 day a week because these are people who are not needing full-time care. They are independent. As I said, they got various understandings. And if you are going to send somebody, I'd like to be included with that, please, if possible, because of they don't get on with strangers and they've built trust up over the year. So I would like to be included in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Herring. I have noted that I did say Councillor Gary Johnson was going to be the last, and 2 people who have already spoken before have raised their hands again. But I'll move straight to Councillor Walter Williams.
Thank you, Chair. About a week or a fortnight ago, I went to have a bargain skip, and they were queuing out onto the main road. And that's when you actually just throw your black bag of residual waste into the skip. Now, we are talking about separating what you're going to put in our black bag. This is a reason we have to have the booking system. Otherwise, the queue will be back to the lights in the other bargain. And that's when the fly tipping will start, is when people can't get into the skip. Once residents get used to pre-sorting all the waste they take to the skip, then they'll be in there, out there quicker, and more people will be able to use the skip under the booking system. This the booking system and sorting this black bag waste comes together. They can't be separated. Otherwise, there will be more fly tipping. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Councillor Marina Charkin-Dawson, please.
Thank you, Chair. I also agree with what Walter's just said, but I'm not going to go on about that, so don't worry. I was just going to ask, in the survey, all the questions don't have to be answered, do they? Because you'd have to have a little star next to the question if they've got to be answered, so they don't all have to be answered. I'm asking, do they all have to be answered?
Yeah, Hayley?
Thanks, Councillor Charkin-Dawson. No, they don't. It's very much at individual's discretion as to what they fill in. Oh, hopefully we hope they will and take the time to do it once, but they're not obliged to.
That's good. Okay, then it won't be as long as initially thought you think that it might take, because you only cherry pick the ones you want to answer. So it's quite a quick survey, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Gary Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start by saying, Chair, you know, since our first meeting back in July last year, my mind hasn't changed with the booking system. I was against it then, and I'm against it now. And you know, I hear the arguments. I think Councillor Sorrells is quite right. There's enough fly tipping going on now anyway, with or without a booking system. So there's no excuses why, you know, we all complain about fly tipping, and for ones to say no, we don't, because we do. The fly tipping is going on now at the minute. But the issue I have with the booking system, a booking system only supports certain people, and it's mostly going to be old age pensioners who are not in work, can go between 9 and 3, 9 and 5, whatever. What about people who working shifts, working other things? You know, we just cannot, oh, right, I'll book for next Friday, the 29th, because I can be there at 3 o'clock, and then I can't get out of work, or a meeting runs late, or something like that. You're knackered. You're knackered. So I think it's just there to stop, personally, I think it's there to stop people from recycling, be a hindrance. Now, I'm hearing about the £2 million, you know, the way we are going on here, spending money after money after money, we could have saved that £2 million, you know. So I'm going to look at the booking system. So whether we do 1 or we do 6, it's still going to cost all that money because you have to get the system in place. So then when you put that system in place, because I believe what the plan is, get us to agree to put it in place and then say, well, we can't not do it now because we have spent all that money on it. So we have to keep it there because that the system's there. So I think it's, you know, it's all smoke and mirrors to me with this here no booking system, and being honest. Now I want to go on to the food caddies. Was an issue that I raised at the last meeting, that we spent over 100,000 again. You know, I must be missing something because I believe we are a council that has to save 50 million over the next 2 years, but we are just chucking money left, right, and centre. It's different gimmicks. You know, I buy my own food caddies, and I know a lot of other people do as well, because we would debate on what shop is the best to get them. But what I also know is the council are giving out the 5 litre caddy bags. Well, the 5 litre caddy bags do not fit over your household, your little bin in your house. For those who keep, you get the big bin for outside and the little bin for inside. I keep mine in my kitchen, so food, good. The 5 litre one doesn't fit over that properly. So I went and bought the 10 litre ones. They fit over there properly because half of it wasn't falling into the bag, it was going all over. So people will not like that there. If it doesn't fit over the thing, they're just probably, nah, not bother. You know, we are not given the right, we've spent the money, but we've not bought the right stuff. And we haven't had ours yet here in Newbridge, but by the sounds of, I think Councillor Enright was saying, it's not going down too well, they're not very good anyway. You know, the quality's not good. Well, it's got to be able to hold the stuff. But the 10 litres, you can fill it up, totally fill it up, and you've somewhere to tie at the top to put it into your green big one to leave outside your door. So that is my question. My question is, I will be supporting, by the way, Councillor Etheridge's motion, so I will be. But my question to Mark is, who decided to go for a 5 litre bag and not, because I know there's the 5 and the 25. But who's decided to go for the 5? Did they actually try and fit it over the caddy before they went and bought them?
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Hayley Jones.
Thank you, Chair. In relation to the question around caddy liners, the caddy liners that we are delivering do fit the caddies, the indoor caddies that we provide. So we did a number of trials with a number of different bags. And as far as I'm aware, we haven't had any complaints about them not being fitting for the caddies that we provide. So if there's any others you can make me aware of, but we're not aware. We did a number of trials on a number of different liners. And the decision in relation to the bags provided and the liners and the costings we provided, that was all based on providing the liners for the indoor caddies, which is what the majority of residents use to use their caddy liners. They use them inside as opposed to out, and then put them from the inside out.
Yeah, can I come back on that, Chair,
yes,
please?
of course you can, Councillor Johnson.
Because I haven't had mine yet, but the reason why I went away from the 5, because it does not fit over there properly. But I will, when they come, I will try them. But if not, I know where to send the photograph to it then, you know, to show that it doesn't. And you may have different caddy things. Mine has been here, you know, quite a number of years now. So maybe you've put smaller ones out, but the one I have does not fit. The 5 litres does not fit. But I will try them when they come, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Johnson. And I haven't had my caddies either. So we're waiting to see. Colin Gordon. Councillor Colin Gordon.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't hear you say Gary was going to be the last. I've been kicked out twice for some reason this evening, but I've been kicked out of better places. But there you are. Just a quick comment and a quick question. I fail to understand how reducing facilities will help us recycle better and people sort out their residual waste. That's just a comment. The other quick question is a question I asked when I sat on Cabinet about 3 years ago when this first came. It was to the Chief Executive and she didn't answer me. regarding the 3 weekly residual time. Now, people are struggling with 2 weeks. How are we going to cope with 3 weeks? And I understand, I was told if I remember in the meeting, if you can't shut your bin, it's called stacking. And I think the chief executive said at that time, if the bin is being stacked, they wouldn't take it. The other thing is, if families, and I know lots of families who cannot cope at the moment, if they put bags by the side of their bins, are the waste going to take the bags? That was the question I asked 3 years ago and I never had an answer. Because if they don't take the bags, there's only one place they're going to end up. I'm not going to go over what had been said before, but there's only one place they're going to end up. I'm forever having the common cleared up above Bryn Meadows, and it's going to get worse. Our countryside will be like tips. So I don't agree with a lot that's been said this evening. And if we go down the road which we're looking at, a £2 million fine in the future will be inevitable. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon. Do you want to make some comment there, Hayley? Yeah, Hayley, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. In relation to the comments around the frequency of collection, whilst the councillor made the comment around a lot of people are not coping with fortnightly, I think a lot of residents are not recycling to the maximum either. We've got less than 50% of this borough that are actively recycling their food waste. A lot of that food waste is being put into the residual containers. By moving the frequency of residual, as well as all the other objectives of the strategy, we will be encouraging people to do the right thing with their waste, putting it into the right containers. Obviously, we've got a fortnightly service. We've done lots of promotions and less than 50% are recycling their food waste. If that residual frequency is less, and with all the other interventions that we're putting in, hopefully more residents will do the right thing.
Thank you, Hayley.
Can I come back quickly, Chair? Just quickly.
Yes, you're the last.
Yeah,
Councillor
thank
Gordon.
you, Chair. I mean, I got to disagree with Hayley what she said then. I
Sorry,
mean,
Chair.
I know people who consciously recycle as much as they can, including food waste. Yet families with 2 or perhaps 3 children, they are struggling. Now, is anybody going to answer the question, if they put bags by the side of their bins, if it goes to 3 weeks, are those bags going to be left there or the bags going to be removed?
Hayley, back over to you.
Okay. There are families that struggle now because of the circumstances you've described with the 240 fortnightly refuse collection service. And we do provide currently additional extra capacity for those residents if they meet the criteria of having large families, as long as they are utilising the recycling services available. And, you know, part of the consultation is for those families to come forward as what will help them with the strategy as we propose going forward. We have a team of recycling advisors and they will be on hand to assist and deal with those families, offer advice, offer extra capacity if that's what we need to do. But what we won't be doing is just collecting additional waste alongside bags unless it's been ratified through these advisors and the proper measures put in place.
Thank you, Hayley. I did say Councillor Johnson was the last, and obviously I did realise that Councillor Gordon was trying to get in several times and then disappearing. But I think we've debated this enough, and I've heard some comments about being here all night and recycling the same questions. So I think we'll move on to the vote. Obviously, there was a motion was proposed by Councillor Etheridge and seconded by Councillor Judith Pritchard. So I think we'll vote on that one first, and then we'll move on to the substantive recommendations as contained on page 8. So can we have a voting slip, please? This is Councillor Etheridge. Do you want to repeat what your motion was, just so everybody's clear?
Yes, thank you. Okay, the motion was that Cabinet voted not to proceed with the booking system, yet the actual report refers to a trial booking system. Can we please shelve the booking system and remove the proposal from the draft consultation document. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Athledge. So basically what you're voting on is that we will recommend to Cabinet that they don't do a booking system. That's the
Yes.
bonus bit. So the voting slips up in front of you. Can you vote for, against or abstain? Voting's open.
Chair, could I have my vote recorded as for removing the booking system, please?
Indeed, Councillor Whittle.
Thank you.
Councillor Angel, are you having troubles? You done? Councillor Miles and Councillor Williams?
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Chair, Councillor Priest, can I have mine against, please?
Okay.
Yes, Andrew, there's no slip come up. Councillor Etheridge, obviously, for the proposal.
Yeah, Andrew, Councillor Fiona Childs, I haven't got a slip either, and I'm for the proposal as well.
Okay. Councillor Patricia Cook?
We're not having a poll this meeting then, are we?
Yes.
You said there was a voting slip.
There's no poll.
Yeah, there's a poll. It's on the screen.
Well, I haven't got one.
Record your vote then, Councillor Cook, through the chair.
Right, 4.
And I presume Dawn Ingram Jones is having the same problem?
I am, yes, against.
Against. Thank you, Councillor Ingram Jones.
Chair, we've got 26 for, 17 against and 1 abstention.
Right. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Councillor Sorales. There are 26 for, 17 against and 1 abstention. So the motion is carried.
So that'll be part of the recommendations that go back to Cabinet, and the substantive recommendations with the omission of the booking system are found on page 8 at 3.1, 3.2 and 3.3. Can I have somebody to move and second that recommendation, please?
Move it.
We haven't got a seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Chatton Dawson. I can see you waving your hand, second it. So we can have the voting slip for this up, please.
Nothing coming up, Chair.
Taking over the air, Councillor Priest, are you for, against or abstaining?
For it, please. No, I'll go for, sorry, no, I'll go abstaining on this because I'm not really quite sure. I haven't really studied it.
Councillor Priest? Councillor Whittle?
I'm a little concerned about the 3 weekly, so I'm going to abstain as well, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Whittle.
I abstain as well, Councillor Etheridge.
I'm for.
Thank you, Councillor Ingram Jones. I did see your hand. I was just about to go to you.
I abstain as well, Chair. Councillor Fiona Childs, I'm going to put that polling slip in front of me.
The vote, Chair.
Yes, please.
Members, we have 35 for, 6 against, 6 abstentions and 1 against. So that's carried.
Thank you very much, members. And as promised to Councillor Mann, I got it done before 20 to 7. So I'd like to thank you all for your attendance tonight and have a safe journey home.
Absolutely grateful, Chair.
Yeah. I'm sure it's very cold outside. Thank you all.
It is, and I've got to go outside for the next one.
Thank you, Chair. Stop recording.
Thank you very much. Thank
you, Chair. Good night, all. Good night, all.
Good night all.
No
Good
star.
night. Good night.